It's not what you. Welcome, everyone. This is Patrick, client success coach for marketing experts and founder of the Great Advantage. Today, I have a very special episode for you. This is going to be different from most episodes I'm doing. By the way, this is episode 12 of Client Success Secrets, and this show is trying to answer one question: what can we do to help more online entrepreneurs finish their courses and coaching programs? This is a problem that's affecting hundreds of thousands of people, and it is time that we finally put a stop to this. And we're gonna get started with why clients get stuck. And this particular presentation is gonna be most helpful if you've bought an online course or coaching program in the past but couldn't finish it. So this is going to completely transform the way you see success, the way you see courses and programs, and the way you see yourself in them. So let's get going. Now, this is going to be more like almost like a masterclass, except that it's not like really fully fleshed. But all the information is right in my head, and I'm going to deliver as much value as I can during the next 40 minutes, and we're gonna get going. All right. So I called this my framework of failure. So nobody has this. As a matter of fact, I like to call this presentation for the podcast the four walls theory of business success. Discover what is holding you and your clients back with the first framework of failure in the marketing education industry. So this is extremely exciting. I have been building this framework for so many years, and now I get to reveal everything to you. So, as we know, we are here because the online education system is broken. There are two awful statistics that describe and summarize really well the state of the industry. And that is that only 5% of people taking online courses complete them. When it comes to coaching programs, the success rate tends to be a little bit higher. And I'm talking about group coaching programs, more specific, but not really that high. Like we can talk about 10%, 15%, at best, it's 20%, which means that no matter what we try, whether that's an online course or a group coaching program, the failure rate is 80% or more. And the second statistic that's really, really concerning is that only 10% of people who start a new business actually make it through, right? They last for longer than 5 years and they are, let's call them successful. It's only 10%. So with these two statistics, we can say that there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people who have the dream of starting a business, doing something that they're passionate about. And now the internet has expanded, multiplied that opportunity like exponentially. But we have so many frustrated people who just don't make it. And this is horrible, and this has to change. And this is why I am here, and this is why you are here. Now, as you know, the online education industry has grown a lot in the last many years, and it continues to grow every year, year after year after year. Unfortunately, just like the industry grows to billions of dollars being invested every year, the problem that we just talked about also multiplies, also grows. So if we have 1 million people taking online courses, we're going to have 800,000 people failing. And if these numbers continue to grow, the number of failed students is going to also grow, which is insane, meaning this is not going to get better unless we do something about it. And let me remind you that this is not your fault. So success is not as simple as it seems. And there are lots of very critical problems that stop most people from finishing them. And that's not just you. It's not just your fault. It's not just your marketing guru's fault. It's a little bit more complex. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So this presentation, as I explained, is for online entrepreneurs who bought online courses and coaching programs but didn't finish them. And I must tell you that I was one of them for the longest time. So anything that you've been through is probably not worse than what I've been through. So let me put some pressure off of your shoulders, because it's not your fault and you're not the only one. And a lot of people who are super successful have also failed a lot at these coaching program and courses. So my goal for you is this. So listen to me carefully. Instead of buying yet another course, you're going to implement what you learn here to give one of your programs another shot and actually make things happen. So that's why I like to say that I don't teach marketing. So what I'm going to teach you here in this podcast is going to be how you can take an online course or coaching program that you already got and fill the gaps in them. Give the strategy or the system another shot and actually take all the action that's necessary and experience the results that you were looking for. So this is the gap. We're filling the gap between you making an investment and not getting to the finish line. Are you ready? So today I will talk about my framework that I developed over the last 6 years of taking multiple online courses, creating some of my own, and starting and failing more times than I can count. So who is me? So for those who don't know me much, my name is Patrick Herron, and I've studied marketing in online marketing for 5 years, implementing across multiple businesses. I've invested over $50,000 in my online education, including marketing, business, sales, personal development, software, etc. I have launched 7 online courses and coaching programs of my own, and I spoke and consulted almost 1,000 online influencers, which adds up to a little over 120 hours of business coaching and consulting. But I always say that I could talk a lot about all the money that I made and the content that I created and all the great people that I've met. But I think that what makes me the best expert for you, the right expert for you, is that I failed a lot. I like to jokingly call myself the failure expert. And it's not that much of a joke because failure is so important when it comes to entrepreneurship. And what's going on in the world today is that we have the tendency to resist and look away from failure. This is not a reality anymore as you watch me talk. So I like to say too that I have been on all sides of the spectrum when it comes to courses and group programs. So what do I mean by that? So I have done everything. I have bought online courses that I never opened. I watched in the other courses, I watched all the lessons, but never took any action. Probably very relatable to some of you listening. I've taken action in other courses, but then hit a wall and gave up. Then I've completed entire courses, but made no money. I have also become a success story in 2 coaching programs, and I launched multiple online courses and coaching programs with mixed results. So when I talk to marketing experts and their clients, I can confidently say that I have been in so many different scenarios within courses and programs that I really know what it's like to be there. I really know the struggles that is necessary to succeed. And I also know a lot of many interesting tactics and strategies to overcome those obstacles. And as I said earlier today, I've identified throughout my studying and my failing and my implementation and my successes, obviously, that there are 4 obstacles that every entrepreneur needs to be ready to overcome. If you know what they are, you're going to completely transform the way you approach your business. You're not going to be disappointed all the time. You're not going to beat yourself up for failing. You're not going to feel like you're not good enough. As a matter of fact, let me just scratch that and tell you, you will feel like you're never enough. But the key difference is that you're going to know that it's normal, that you're not the only one going through that, and that you're going to feel like yourself again, even if you beat yourself up or say that you're not good enough for a little while. So I like to say that I experienced so much failure and success in all these courses that I developed this insider knowledge about what it takes to move forward in the client journey no matter what. And today, this is extremely important Today, you're going to see failure through a new lens. So, because the better you understand the journey, the better equipped you will be to navigate it. Does that make sense? So, allow me to continue. The biggest shift I experienced in my entrepreneurial journey was that the path to success is not what most experts teach you. Let me tell you real quick what I have seen considered to be the framework of success across all the experts that I worked with, that I studied from, that I etc. And this includes not only the marketing experts, which is usually the people who are listening to the show, but it is also the experts in any personal development field or business field. So you will want to pay attention to this. So what I've discovered, the common theme that I've seen about this success formula that we're about to challenge in this presentation is that the the layout, the environment is simple. Your coach, your expert wants to take you, the client, from point A to point B. This means where you are and where you want to be. In this case, we're talking about business, which means that you could be somebody starting out, not making any money yet. Maybe you don't even have your business idea yet. Maybe you don't have any money to invest. It doesn't really matter. The point is that you are at a certain point B, and there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be, which is point B, right? Then there is something I call the system of success. So the guru is going to give you what they call their strategy or their system for you to go from point A to point B. Usually, especially in mainstream online marketing, these people have gone through the path themselves. So that point A and point B is something that they've done themselves, and then they turn it into something more repeatable and more shareable so that other people can do it too. And that's the system of success. I also like to use the term framework of success. So, and then what's the gap, right? So you know where you're going, you know where you are, you know what's going to get you there. But then comes the action, which is taking action, and the mindset. And the mindset is going to also help you take action in a way that's more balanced, more confident, and more consistent. So there you have it. That's this model of success, the success formula that mainstream marketing, believes, and also even to some extent, mainstream personal development also believes. Unfortunately, this is a little bit more complex that we paint it to be, and I am the living proof of that for one simple reason. I have followed this framework of success and failed over and over and over and over and over. And many times didn't get anywhere. Many times I was going backwards because I was using this system of success. And then I said, this can't be it. I was looking at myself, at my efforts, at my mindset, at my determination. I said, this is impossible. I just can't conceive that I'm not making it because I am following the success formula. So then it got to a point where I wanted to start rethinking the success formula and say, what if there was more? I found lots of evidence that were suggesting that this formula was incomplete. And I was fortunate enough to have the determination and the information and the experience to come up with something different. And more importantly, something more compassionate, something more ethical. Are you ready? And let me tell you something else about this. A big flaw of this success formula. The one big flaw is that it relies on willpower. So they say that by using the system of success, you're working smart and not working hard, right? One of those many annoying quotes and commonplace phrases that mean very little when you say it and when it looks smart. So willpower means that you know what to do, you just got to push yourself to do it. End of story. And that's how a lot of marketing experts and personal development gurus operate. They say, look, this is what you need to do. And if it's not happening, change your mindset. And changing your mindset also is not a simple process. It's not the, just do it, Nike kind of thing. On the contrary, changing your mindset, it is important. I do find it critical for a critical piece into success formula, but it's not something that you just change by saying, oh, this is a scarcity, so I'm gonna do this. Oh, this is fear, so I'm gonna do that. It's not that simple. It's not one decision you can make in 1 second and just be a different person. The mindset is more complex than that. Mindset shifts are more complex than that. It doesn't mean it's hard, long, or complicated. It only means that it's not so simple. Okay. Now let's talk about other flaws, and that is the lack of environment. According to the success formula, there we sort of dismiss context and environment. So we don't talk about the your home, you don't talk about your relationships, you don't talk about your health, you don't talk about your job if it's bothering you, you don't talk about the integrity, you don't talk about how much clarity you have in your goals or your identity. We don't talk about any of that. That's the environmental stuff. We sort of think that we are like all powerful beings, that if we developed our mindset enough, we would be like all powerful and we could simply accomplish anything that we want. And this is not completely wrong, but the way we go around it is very flawed. And one of the reasons why is that we expect people who haven't done any personal development work to just do it and become the person that they need to become in order to move forward quicker and more effectively. And that's another big flaw. In the environment too, if you just work hard and use willpower and push yourself to do the things that you're supposed to do, in quotations, it's not going to work either. It's not going to cut it, because you can find, and let me tell you, this is the last like piece of evidence against the traditional mainstream success formula, and that is, you can know your point A and point B, you can have a strong mindset and take lots of action on a proven system or framework and still fail. That's how life works. It would be awesome for life to be more certain and be super conscious that there are certain rules or paths that we can, just walk on them and get to exactly where we want to be in the exact time and the exact way that we want. But life is not that easy, and it shouldn't be. Life is uncertain, and I think that's one of the biggest factors that are ignored, which make up the environment element that I mentioned earlier. Not everything is uncertain. As a matter of fact, when it comes to life in general and entrepreneurship in particular, there are lots of things, hundreds of things that are not certain. And I also want to clarify one extra point before we move on to what we are really going to do after this. And that is this uncertainty factor. So you don't have to control everything. You are going, your vision, your path, your strategy, who you are as a person are going to evolve throughout your entrepreneurial journey. Now, like I said, if the process was really that simple, more people would achieve success, especially entrepreneurs. But what does more mean? Are we going from 5% failure rate to 5% completion rate to 10, 15, or 20? That's not enough. That's not worth it. We need to change way more lives. So like I said, it was a painful process, 5 years, 12 online courses, but I figured it out and it was worth it. And I want to share that with you. So let's talk about the new model of success. Are you excited about this? So the new model of success is a little bit different. So let me tell you, you're going to have a point A and point B. Yes. You're still going to have a system of success, yes, but you're going to have a few extra elements that almost nobody talks about. And what's so fascinating is that when you look at the content that many gurus post or talk about, even not only in their marketing, but also beyond the sale, like in their courses, in the courses themselves, and the coaching programs themselves, and other talks, you will see that they are coming across them. They're touching on them time and time again. As a matter of fact, let me tell you that the way I built this framework was so fascinating. So one day, a couple of years ago, I was a YouTube coach. So my job was to work with YouTube content creators who were struggling with audience growth. So they wanted to basically turn their channel into, that dream career, content creator, and then, get monetized on YouTube and sell their stuff and do partnerships and do Patreon and, do all that stuff so they could achieve the dream lifestyle. As is now, one way or another, my vision is always my vision, and that's what I wanted to do. And I worked with many clients, and I created different programs also across, um, between online courses, coaching programs, one on one, one to many. Like I built a lot of experience, valuable experience out of it, working with really nice people, really passionate people, and I realized that something was not fully working. I made many sales. I was working with clients, which made me really happy. We developed this intimate relationship. We were taking action together. Like we were really like citing to each other. We were improving our content. Like it was awesome. The problem was that they were not getting as far as they wanted. Right? They wanted to, you know, make their dreams a reality and mm, be able to live, right? Make a living as a YouTube creator, but things were not working. My clients were not getting to that point, even though some of them were close, some of them were not so close. And he said, why is this happening? What do I need to do different? And I kept asking myself that question over and over again. And throughout the years, I was getting different answers. Not different in a way that they were contradictory, but I was getting a lot of answers out of that super question, right? What can I do different? And it took me a long time to figure this out. I must admit that I am under the impression that the universe was giving me lots of clues to completely change my business. I just like couldn't sort of put it together until very recently. So this is what happened. Um, my business was growing for a little bit, then it got stuck, and then I was spending lots of time on fulfillment, and my clients were getting better, but they were not getting to where they wanted to be. And then I also started making less sales over time. And then I said, what the hell is going on? And I remember that I hit rock bottom at some point where I was feeling horrible about myself, of blaming me for everything. I was feeling like I was never good enough. And that also sort of became like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I was doing worse and worse in business, and yeah, got to a point where I said, "Ugh, things are horrible. I can't trust anybody. I'm not gonna get anywhere good ever." And then for a little while, that was in 2023, early 2023. I spent 6 months in personal development. I healed myself. I healed the past. I took a few courses that I already had, didn't pay for them. And yeah, I spent 6 months, developing my confidence again, getting into good habits again. One other problem that was really seriously bad for me was that I was so obsessed with my business that I let everything else around me fall apart. So I was suffering from pain. I had gained weight. Um, I was under a lot of stress, and my home was not like fully taken care of. I was not cleaning enough or decluttering enough. I had it's not as big of a mess as you think it might have been, but I was not happy with the state of things in my physical like environment. I was procrastinating a lot, and one thing that I really hated about that time is, and I want you to remember this, resignation. Every time anything got a little bit harder, I would just not do it, not bother trying. And honestly, it didn't feel like me at all. Like I've been in this whole personal development journey for more than 10 years. And believe it or not, no less than 2 years ago, I was worse off than many, many other years that came before that. And I just hated it. Like it sucked. And it almost feel like, my obsession for my business ruined the rest of my life. Not ruined to a horrible extent, but you know, from a subjective perspective, I was very, very dissatisfied with my life. So, like I said, I spent those 6 months just dedicated to A, fulfilling my current clients. I was not making more sales. I chose not to try to make more sales. I wanted to, really serve the people that already bought from me. And second, healing myself, becoming more confident, and setting those good habits and that good foundation to live a better and more fulfilled life and more balanced, especially. So then a couple of months after, I had a very crazy realization. So I was going to start selling my business, my stuff again, and I discovered the strategy, the challenges as a market. I discovered challenges as a marketing strategy. So I took a course. I took the actually to be more exact. I took the challenges masterclass from Russell Brunson and Pedro Adao. I was super excited about challenges. I thought they were super amazing. They are still great. I think they're still great for today, and I usually recommend them to new entrepreneurs. And I learned the whole challenge strategy. So I went through the course by myself, watching all the recordings. I was taking notes like crazy for a week, and then I said, okay, I'm gonna build my own challenge. So I gave myself a 6 weeks deadline. I put everything together, slides, the Facebook group, the talking to everybody I knew to have them join the challenge. And I did the Zoom, I did it like everything. So I went live every single day for 5 days. In the meantime, I was coming with a new offer. I said, okay, I'm gonna try this out. So there was one really extra, like super pro tip strategy in, inside the challenges strategy, which was the paid challenges. So what Pedro taught was teaching is that you could run a challenge and build a free course relatively quickly, and then offer people at the end a paid challenge that you will also build like more or less as you go, and then you wouldn't have to wait so long to build your own course or your own program. People were already hyped, they were already gaining lots of momentum, they were hot leads, and they would buy the paid challenge, and you were ready to run it again because you already ran the first free one. So it was the same type of work all over again. And I did that, and I was honestly super confident that it was going to sell well, but it didn't. As a matter of fact, nobody signed up to the pay challenge. I did get a significant amount of signups, not crazy, but I really liked my conversion numbers. I talked to like 30 people, which it wasn't much, and I got 11 signups, which is super amazing conversion. After that, I didn't get any sales, which is not uncommon actually. But honestly, I was disappointed in a very funny way. Um, I said, why is this not working? I mean, I could have given myself a lot of logical explanations, like, oh, you know what, we need more volume to test this out. We need to, talk to people and get all the feedback and say, what did you not like, or what are you not convinced by in regards to the offer? Like I could have done all that. Sure, that makes the most sense. Nobody is successful at their first shot at anything, especially when it comes to business. And I could have gone that route and say, okay, this is the logical answer. I'm just going to continue doing challenges one after another for 12 months or more, and then be super successful. But something different happened here. After I ran my second challenge, I got similar results, roughly 11 signups, no sales. And then I sort of said, okay, I need to think about things differently. I want to do something completely different. It got to a point where I started talking to family, and I thought that was important too, because I was sick of having to make so many important decisions all by myself. So I started talking to my family and even to some experts and mentors who were close to me and said, look, I have this like YouTube coaching business that honestly like is not only not working, but it feels like there's constant friction to trying to make this work. And then as I started talking and talking, it was actually my mother who said, what if you try a different niche? I mean, this was a very simple statement, but it meant a huge deal for me. Because if I was going to try a different niche, that meant that I was going to sort of throw out the window all the work that I've done all these years. And I said, what if, right? What if I just chose a different niche? And by different niche, I mean a completely different business idea being done working with YouTubers. And that was a very thought provoking question for me. And I needed to start thinking. And then I said, what's interesting about this is that I didn't choose my next idea without giving up the old one first. Let me put that in simpler terms. I didn't find something better and then quit YouTube coaching. I quit YouTube coaching first and then I found something better. And that was stepping into the unknown. I didn't know what I was going to build next, but I knew that the universe was trying to tell me something. It almost felt, I realized this much later, but it almost felt like the universe was setting me up to stop doing this. If I had been successful with YouTube coaching, I wouldn't be teaching you the four walls theory today. So it looks like there was a turning point right there. So what I did next was to start thinking, what is my next business idea going to be? So I knew I could use leverage, tons of experience that I had. And then I said, so what's next? I started doing this, figuring out your business idea exercise. And it took me a couple of weeks, a literal couple of weeks. And one day, one significant moment, it just hit me. And I think I realized that this is what I wanted to do. What if I helped struggling entrepreneurs who join online courses and coaching programs finish them? So this idea sounded simple, but it was so powerful. So over time, I started getting excited. I started, talking again with the people in my circle and say, okay, what do you think about this? Everyone was excited. Everyone thought that it was a great idea. Everyone thought that it was great for me specifically. And they said, people need this. People need this a lot. This is a huge problem. So I had to do it. And then as I continued digging into this idea, I realized that this was my purpose. This is the exact thing that I was meant to do all these years. But it was not something that I could have chosen to do many years back because of all the experiences that led me to that moment. And I said, this is my purpose. It's a problem that speaks to my soul. It's a unique solution that gives me joy. We'll get on that in a moment. It's an idea that matches my skills and experience. It aligns with the vision of helping hundreds of thousands of people. This is an audience that I deeply care about. I've been there, remember? And surprisingly, too, this is a very profitable idea. And I couldn't say the same about my old YouTube coaching idea. So that's it. And that's the story of Patrick. And now I needed to build some kind of system. So what was my framework going to be? In other words, if this is what you help people with, how are you going to do it? And let me tell you, this is how I built the framework. The framework of failure, what turned into the framework of failure. So I sat down, spent a few hours going through every single course that I took in the last 5 years, including the ones that I built myself. So I was looking at, roughly 20 courses and online programs, including some free stuff, including like everything that's ever happened in the 5 years prior. And then I made a list with two columns. Super simple. What worked and what didn't work. And this simple exercise was just fascinating. And then I started writing and writing and writing and writing. And then I started seeing patterns. By the time I was done, I could see patterns of failure and success turning up. The ultimate model of business success formed before my very eyes. And that's what it is. I called it the four walls theory. And that's what you're going to learn today. I wish I could give you the billion stories around this, but I'm going to make it a little bit short. All right. Because the origin of this framework just says so much about what it is. And also my story of all the things that I've done that helped me, get over the pain, stay on the path, enjoy the journey, and all those beautiful experiences that await you if you have the right perspective, which is not exactly the same as mindset. So the four walls theory is the new model of success that I want you to embrace. I want you to love this. I want you to remember it every single day. I want you to look at it, especially on the bad days. Are you with me? In the good days too. So this is how it works. You probably remember the mainstream model of success or success formula. So let me repeat it for you so that you know exactly how it works in the four walls. So you have a point A, that's where you are or your clients are. You have a point B, which is the finish line of where they want to be. Then you have a system of success or the framework that takes people from point A to point B. That's the path. And now this is where things get a little bit more complex. You still have the action and the mindset, but they not in the same way. So let's put the action right at the top and talk about the four walls. The four walls are the four obstacles that are going to get in your way pretty much every single day. So if you know what they are, you can look them in the face and say, I know the problem that I have. I know that I need to get over this. I know how to get over this. And you'll do it. You'll be more likely to do it because those walls are no longer invisible. They're no longer knocking you out before you can even see them. So let's talk about them. For wall number one, start something new. Wall number two, defeat overwhelm. Wall number three, get vulnerable. Wall number four, get over failure. So these are self-explanatory for the most part, but let me give you a little bit of a further description in some examples if necessary. So starting something new is very simple. So this is the moment where you bought the online course and you're starting something new, basically. So what happens is that starting something new is not easy. And the biggest reason why is that your habits, your lifestyle, even your brain itself is used to the old ways. And when you buy an online course or coaching program, we're shaking things up. And the brain and the old habits and the people around you sometimes don't like it. They're going to resist change. And if you're not strong enough or you don't have enough support, that alone is going to stop you right from the start. You won't be able to start something new, or you're going to start a little bit, or not, or maybe a little more than, or maybe more than a little bit, but still be doomed to fail. You were not prepared. You did not see it coming. And then you feel horrible about yourself because you put a lot of money and trust into something that you could not make work. So remember, look at this problem in the face and say, I know what you are, and I'm not going to fall for it. Wall number two is defeat overwhelm. This one is related to the first one, but it's a little different. So imagine that you bought an online course, joined the coaching program, and then you got started. You actually managed to set you up to push through a little bit, set up a certain environment that will help you succeed. For example, like managing your time correctly, and you started taking the actions. So lesson one, action. Lesson two, action. Like you were getting through the problem, and then something a little too big comes your way. And by a little big, I mean a big task that takes a lot longer to finish, that you won't see come through so quickly, that looks so big that the mere thought of getting started haunts you. Like you just can't. Or maybe you do get started, but you go like week one, nothing. Week two, nothing. Week three, this is gonna take forever to finish. And then that alone can defeat you. That alone will knock you out, and you're gonna quit. You see how like easy it is to fall into these traps just because we don't know. And let's think about a few examples of defeating overwhelm. For instance, when I discovered the challenge strategy, I was very overwhelmed by the challenge strategy itself. You were pretty much building a course. You needed to do a whole like setup, Facebook group, Zoom. You needed to make sure all the technology was right. You needed to make a schedule so that you would show up every single day at the same time. You needed to calculate that it was going to take you 1 hour and 30 minutes or maybe 2 hours to be there. You had to put a presentation together. You had to speak well in that presentation. You had to take care of the tech, of the comments, of signing up new members, setting up funnels and automations. It was not my case, but you could do that. And then you think, damn, this is too overwhelming. I can't. And then you start procrastinating, and then you start just, quitting altogether, because the more you procrastinate in the beginning, the more motivation you're going to lose at the end. And then that's what makes people quit. So you're defeated. Wall number 3. This is interesting. And I want you to look at the sequence of the walls, because there's a logical sequence here, right? So imagine that you got started. Let's talk about this. Let's do it together. You started something new. So you broke through the first few obstacles, right? The old habits, the old ways, the old lifestyle, the people around you who don't get it, right? Then you defeated overwhelm. You go like, okay, this mega project, your webinar, your course, your challenge, your funnel, like you did it, you built it, you launched it, you're there. And then you have the third wall, which is a little bit harder because you can't fix it with hard work. And you see this how this ties back to the many flaws from the old success formula. So getting vulnerable is harder, and you can't fix it with hard work. So getting vulnerable basically means that you are exposing yourself to failing, to being rejected or criticized or embarrassed. Things can go wrong and you can't control it. So what this looks like in the entrepreneurial world is that you are going on sales calls. People could say no. People could judge you. People could reject you. People could say, I can't afford it. And you're like, oh, I hate this. Like, I can't control it. I can't make them say yes. And it totally sucks because I feel like I'm wasting my time. It's just horrible. And that alone, could make you quit. And what's interesting about this is that it's worse than what I just said. Because getting vulnerable in this sense means that you're not going to do it enough, or you're not going to do it at all. And if you can't get vulnerable, if you say, oh, I'm going to put up this post making my offer, but oh my God, I'm just so scared of doing it. I feel what are people going to think? Like, I'm not even like good enough. I'm not even an expert. I just can't. And then that fear alone could stop you. And for those people out there who say that fear is not real, fear is very real. Fear is not something that you can Nike out by saying just do it. Fear is real, and it goes back to your history, your past, your relationships, your mindset, your culture, even. Fears are real, so we gotta face them and say, how can I get over this fear? That's the right approach. and then you know you're going to get yourself in a vulnerable situation, and you're just not going to do it. You could get stuck and quit, or worse, you could just try to fix things with hustle. You know what? This seems like super impossible. I think if I work harder on the things that I can control, things are going to work themselves out. They're not going to, because you are required to get vulnerable if you want to be successful in the uncertain path of entrepreneurship. So let's talk about wall number four. So wall number four is the toughest one, but let me tell you something. The vast majority of entrepreneurs taking online courses and coaching programs are stuck in the first three walls. The people who get over the third wall but get stuck at the fourth one, those are the action takers. These are the people with the strong mindset. These are the people who are confident. These are the people who believe in the system of success, and they do whatever it takes. But there's a problem. And that problem is that they can't get over failure. So now let's go back to the sequence, right? The four walls. You started something new, you got over the old habits and the old environment, you defeated overwhelm, you finished a massive task and you're ready. You have to get vulnerable, and you said, you know what, screw it. I know it could fail. I know things could go wrong, but I am doing this. I believe in my business. I believe I deserve to live my dreams. So this is going. So I'm going on sales calls. I'm launching that funnel. I'm running that challenge. And whatever needs to happen will happen. Yes, I love that. That's a freaking confident person. And that's been me for years. Crossing the third wall, but never breaking through the fourth one. So what is it? What is this fourth wall? Getting over failure. This is very tricky, because getting over failure is a broad term, the way I use it. And that means that you are able to get over failure, criticism, rejection, embarrassment, and other forms of emotional pain. But that's not enough. Getting over those things means that they are behind you emotionally, and they're going to try again. That's what it means in simple terms. But there's something very tricky that nobody tells you, which is those mistakes that you make, even if you know they are a mistake. Very tough. Humans are complex. So let me explain. When you fail in your launch, call it funnel, webinar, masterclass, social media post, social media campaign, email marketing campaign, when you fail, things basically don't go the way you expected, you're going to take some measures, and those measures are so important. This is a concept I like to call adaptability. And there are right ways to adapt and wrong ways to adapt. So listen up. There are some wrong ways to adapt. For example, if you made your launch and you didn't make too many sales, or you didn't make any sales at all, don't drop the price. Don't lower the price. Lowering the price is basically your reaction to scarcity. You think, oh, you know what? I had like 20 people come, nobody bought, and my package is $3,000. I'm sure I would make more sales if my package was $500. And then you make a massive drop in the hopes that more people are going to buy. That's the wrong way to adapt, because if you drop your price, you are beating up the value of your thing, your service, and you also don't look so premium. I mean, I don't need to explain you logically what it means to drop your prices. Dropping your prices too much is bad. But I also need to explain you that when you are getting over failure, it's easy to make mistakes that you know are mistakes. But there's always another part of yourself telling you, obviously, people are going to buy cheaper because they can afford it. That's not it. Another wrong way to adapt to getting over failure is to breaking up your niche. So if you have a specific niche of anything, right, niching down is important to remain competitive. So instead of choosing like let's say online marketing for the sake of simplicity, you will choose something more specific, like let's say YouTube coaching, right? That's what I did. So YouTube marketing. You could be more specific and say YouTube marketing for entrepreneurs, etc., etc. So what happens many times, and it certainly happened to me, is that after you fail once or twice or three times, you're going to start to think that the problem is that you're targeting to very few people. Again, the scarcity is rushing in your body, and you're going to think, oh, but if I target audience was actually wider, maybe I have a better chance of making sales. So you think that the problem is that there are very few people who are actually interested in your offer. And that's also wrong. And when you break up the niche, as I like to say, you're going to become less competitive. Your offer and your services will become less attractive. And again, this is something that I could talk about for hours in logic, but you have to get yourself out of the state of I just failed. Because when you make decisions from that state, you're going to make mistakes that you know are mistakes. I must tell you, humans are not fully rational, not at all. And you're, like I said before, there's going to be parts of yourself that are going to think numerically and say, you know what, I think my ideal audience is just 1,000 people. What if it was like 100,000 people? So I'm going to, reduce these requirements. I'm going to remove this, and that. And now my ideal client is somebody who I know there's millions of. And that's also going to destroy your competition, your competitiveness. And at the same time, it's going to sort of sabotage what you were doing before, because your content and your messaging was speaking to a certain someone. And now you're speaking to everybody. So that whatever you were building, even if it was small before, you're destroying it. This is sabotaging. So don't do that. That's another wrong way to adapt. So are you getting this? Are you getting how you're supposed to break this fourth wall? And how it works in practice is that you're going to fail. You're going to stop everything. Don't make any rush decisions. Feel the pain. Gather the lessons, the feedback, the data from your last attempt, and then try again. Make one shift, not 10. Don't change your prices. Don't break up your niche. Don't go nuts. Just make one shift and then try again. Then you're gonna have to try a lot, because this is one of the things that, one of the biggest flaws of the success formula as we know it. The system is not perfect. The system of success that the gurus built not only are not perfect, they don't fit every single person out there. So you're gonna have to make your own version. And that gap between the exact framework that they give you and what's going to work for you specifically is what you have to feel through experience, which means testing and failing and adjusting. That's it. That's how you fill the gap between what they give you and what's going to work for you. And if you don't get over failure consistently without making those mistakes that we know are mistakes, you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it. Serious. I really, really want you to learn from my mistakes. Now, the last thing that I needed to mention about this four walls theory is two very important pieces that are going to move you forward. So I call this the foundation. To be specific, the personal foundation and the business foundation. So the whole idea of foundation is to build something solid where everything else is built on. And at the end of the day, when you focus on solidifying your foundation, whether that's personal or business, you're going to achieve more with less work. I want you to hear me out. Everyone has a foundation, a personal foundation and a business foundation. The more you solidify and build this foundation, the more successful you'll be with less work. That is the success formula. And as you build your personal foundation, for instance, breaking through the four walls is going to get easier, because the personal foundation is your identity, your values, what you're passionate about, your mindset, what lights you up, your talents, your environment, right? Fix your home, fix your relationships, fix your health, fix your habits. Um, all of those things make up your personal foundation. Heal the past, just like I told you that I did. Heal the past. Don't worry too much about the future. Have a clear vision of your ideal life. That personal foundation aspect is going to help you move forward. It's going to help you have more energy to take action, right? So instead of hustling your way through the journey, you're going to have more energy and you'll be able to take more action without getting so tired and drained while you do it. And at the end of the day, you're going to bring joy back to the entrepreneurial journey. Now let's talk about the business foundation a little bit. I like this one very much. And it's something that's so overlooked. The business foundation are all those, I like to say, to call assets that help you achieve more with less work. For example, if you have a big following, that is a piece of your business foundation. If you have money to invest in your business, that's an asset in your business foundation. If you have a certain skill set, like sales, marketing, software, design, like all those little skills, some are going to be bigger and more relevant than others, make up your business foundation. Every time, this is a big one, every time you launch something, you try something, you're gonna get you're gonna get experience and feedback from it, and that alone is going to solidify your business foundation. Having a niche that is profitable makes up your business foundation. Having a big idea for your business that you know is a good fit for the market and for yourself is makes up a solid business foundation. And this is something that you build over time. So the longer you're in the game, the stronger your foundation is going to be. And at the end of it all, you're going to achieve more with less work. And you're going to get to the finish line, which is the point B in this model. Oof, that was a lot that I covered. But that is my four walls theory. I would love to give you more strategies on how exactly you're going to break through these walls or solidify your personal and business foundations. But for now, I'm going to leave this for you. The mere fact that you have the four walls theory as your frame of view in your journey is going to change everything. So go use it. Please leave me comments to ask me anything that you want about this framework. If you want to learn more or work with me on this framework, please let me know. I don't have a service in place for this, but I will be more than happy to help you move forward in any way I can. With that said, this was Patrick Heron at the Client Success Secrets Show. We go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And thank you for tuning in. And I can't wait to see what we can create together. See you next time.